Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the show. We're glad that you're here. And today, I'm gonna do my best to be brief on this video because I know I'm long-winded, but we try to give you the real deal, hard-hitting scientific information, and that's what we're gonna do today. Today's video started out in life as a review on the Aimpoint Comp M5. And then I got this and I started to ponder the question. I was like, I don't know if there's enough to do a review on. It's an Aimpoint red dot. But then I came up with the idea. I'm like, why would you ever buy a Aimpoint Comp M5 over an Aimpoint T1 or T2? And so that's kind of the premise of the video, is that this exists and this exists. So why would you buy this if you could buy this? And so we're just gonna go, I'm gonna make this as non-biased as possible and give you the facts, okay? So here we go, everyone. Before we do that, damn it, I almost forgot my sales pitch. And my sales pitch is what keeps my light bill on. So 1911syndicate.com, if you need real estate help, that's what we do. That's our day-to-day gig, okay? That's actually our operation. That's what we do. That doesn't mean we want to entertain your gun guy fantasies as it pertains to buying land to like blow shit up on. That's not the business we're in unless you can show us a screenshot of your bank account to verify the funds. Patreon we have, that way if you really happen to like what we do, which is, I understand, basically my mom and maybe a cousin down the road somewhere, you can donate to the Patreon. All the other important stuff will be linked below. These slings, fantastic slings. We did a video on these from Sly Tactical. Legit, our favorite slings. We run them on all of our stuff. We do have a code that saves you, I think, 15% down below, so you can check that out. All right, here we go. Let's start with battery life. We need like big, bold fucking battery life with like an image and sound effects that are creepy and everything. Battery life, here we go. Guys, this is gonna be a very straightforward review. The Comp M5, which is on the SP5K, Comp M5, well, the battery life. The Comp M5, and this is the biggest distinguishing point between the two guns, is that the Comp M5 runs on a AAA battery. Sorry, something got in there, everyone. AAA battery is what this runs on. And I think that's the main, potentially only selling point of the Comp M5. And it's just right on the tip of the lip there, everyone. I don't know what it was, something from the wind. But it runs on a AAA battery versus the T1 or T2. Now, my numbers, FY, that I'm gonna give you are for the T2. I understand the optic I'm showing you is a T1. They're basically the same thing, but just understand I'm showing you a T1 even though I'm talking about a T2. So this runs on a AAA. The T2 is gonna run on a 2032 battery. The Comp M5 is gonna have 50,000 hours of battery life, and that is a long freaking time. But you know what the T1 and the T2 is gonna have? 50,000 hours battery life. Sorry, there was a shot that went off a minute ago that just buzzed by our head, so when I heard a shot, I flinched. Both of them have 50,000 hours of battery life is really the main point here. Let's talk about the brightness settings, because I think that this is a very big distinguishing point. So the Comp M5 is gonna have 4 night vision settings and then 6 daylight settings. Now, this is one of my criticisms of the M5, Comp M5, is that on full power, and I will preface with this, this is a brand new battery, okay? I put in a brand new battery, and guess what? I put in Energizers, everyone, the good shit, not the like star value stuff that you get at the gas station. These are Energizer batteries. I'm not saying that to brag, it's fact, right? When this thing is cranked all the way up, it's lacking a little bit of brightness for me. Like, and we exist, today largely in bright desert conditions, and on full power, which is what I'm on, it's adequate, but I frankly want more than adequate. I would rather have to back it off than go, man, I'd like to have a little bit more. So this does lack a little bit of brightness for me. So the T1, T2 has an off setting, which is something that this doesn't have. It will always be on the lowest night vision setting if you think you turned it off. This has an off setting, 4 night vision settings, and then 8 daylight settings. So here's the big distinguishing point. The off thing, I can give a shit because the battery life is so long that who really cares? It just doesn't matter, right? I frankly, on most of these like hard use guns like I just leave the dots on because they last 5 years. So what's the fucking difference? You know what I mean? So here's the big difference though. The 6 versus the 8 daylight settings really matters. One, on full power, this dot is brighter than that Comp M5. It simply is. When I turn this all the way up, I go, back it down one. Yep, there's kind of the sweet spot for me. So I leave this, even in harsh desert lighting, I leave this down one power setting. So that's good because this is brighter. But the other thing is those 8 daylight settings, to me, where they really become critical is in either low light, no light conditions, where I have more adjustability, or the big one to me is in zeroing, okay? So in zeroing an optic, all the precision guys can yell at me for what I'm about to say, but I confidently stand by it. When zeroing an optic, I'm gonna make it as dim as humanly possible where I can just barely see it, and that's gonna be the setting that I zero on. Point being, hey, the more dim that gets, the more precise I'm gonna be able to see the dot in relation to that target. So I'm just gonna simply shoot smaller groups, right? It's like having a 1 MOA dot on a pistol versus a 6 MOA dot. It's like, it's just more precise, the smaller dot. It's not that the dot size is changing, but the brightness is changing, so it does help me in terms of precision if I'm gonna zero a rifle. So those extra couple of daylight settings, they legitimately do matter. I would say it's the equivalent of having one extra brightness setting over the Comp M5, but more refinement in terms of how bright you can get it, and to me, probably the biggest selling point of the T2. Weight. Comp M5, this is the optic only, it's not factoring in mounts. The Comp M5 is gonna be 8.4 ounces and the T2 is gonna be 4.6 ounces. So we have a big difference in weight here. Does it matter to me as a gun bunny out on the range, right? Dude, gun bunny. Not really, it just doesn't really matter. Like I'm not doing anything, I'm not hiking through the mountains of Afghanistan or something like that, right? But if you're a working professional, especially guys that do long range patrols, missions, stuff like that, where weight starts to become very important, I do think those weight savings is really gonna be like that. That's several ounces, and I think it winds up being significant. There's a point that Jason Beefley makes in a video we shot with him. I don't know what video that was in. It might have been on Patreon actually, but he was talking about an obsessive level of detail that they had in their special operations unit back in the day, where I mean they were adding up every single thing on zippers and the magazine weight between an HK mag and a standard M4 mag, and analyzing nitty-gritty detail of all their weight to find any place they could shave weight. Well, that's one of them, right? A 4 ounce difference on the optics, I do think it is significant for an actual working professional. Price, the Comp M5, here's my caveat. So just to make it a apples to apples comparison, I went to the ScalarWorks website and I used their website as an example. So what I did was, hey, I looked at the Comp M5 on the ScalarWorks mount, which is exactly what I have here, versus the T2 on the ScalarWorks mount. What's the price on each, okay? Just to keep it even. So the Comp M5 is $850, the T2 is $800. So it's a $50 difference. Is it huge? No, but you know what? 50 bucks, right? Tell me you couldn't use 50 bucks right now, guy? Go buy like 7 rounds of 9mm with that. So the T2, as I looked everywhere online, T2 is consistently about 50 bucks cheaper. And again, hey, it does matter. Waterproof, let's talk about this. Comp M5 can be submerged to 45 meters, you know, and the T2 can go down to 25 meters. So my question, for those of you watching this from the comfort of your sofa, when was the last time you had your rifle diving down past 25 meters? So who really gives a shit, right? Like maybe if you're like a SEAL and you're doing the underwater shit in a submarine, you're like, yeah, that extra meter does actually, you know, matter to us. For the rest of us, the most wet this is ever gonna get is sweat from your cheek weld or water from the sky. That's the most wet this is ever gonna get. It's not going in pools or oceans with you. So versatility, the Comp M5 really is a dedicated rifle optic, and or you could run it on a sub gun like I've done here. Okay, so but it is a long gun, if you will, optic. The T2 has the benefit it can run on pistols. It could, or sorry, damn it, that was the punchline. It can run on rifles, it can run on sub guns, but guess what, fella? It can run on your pistols too. I think T1, T2 on like a Glock or something, it just is a bit overkill to me. But I mean, if you really just wanted this like bomb-proof red dot on your pistols, knock yourself out, right? That's a benefit the T1, T2 has that the Comp M5, It's not that it couldn't do that. I think it's the same footprint, but I mean, come on, let's be honest. That optic is simply too big for a pistol. It's just obnoxious. They're both 2 MOA dots. The windage elevation, it's the exact same like adjustment style on both. As mentioned, I'm almost positive, don't quote me, I'm almost positive they have the same footprint, although there's some things you're just not going to want to do on that. And in terms of the clarity of the glass, it's going to be totally equal, so there's really no difference there. So, look guys, straight up, there's a clear winner here. I don't really see any reason why you would get a Comp M5 over a T1 or T2 except one freaking point. It's the only point that the believers of this optic have, which is it runs on a battery that's readily available. And I concede that. I think that, hey, look, if you're gonna do a Comp M5, because you go, hey, look, I'd like to have one optic that doesn't run on like the 2032s or something like that. I just want it to run on like normal household batteries that if things got a little dicey, I'm probably always gonna be able to get AAA batteries, or I could just stock up on them. That's your only real point towards the Comp M5 as far as I'm concerned. Maybe there's some secret ninja point that I'm unaware of that I have not discovered, but I think that's really the only real advantage to it. Of course, the con with that is, hey, look, it's gonna cost more, it's gonna weigh more, you go down the list. So I really think, hey, look, T1, T2, it is still the king of the hill when it comes to red dots, on red dots, period. Like that is the top tier thing. And then ironically, it's a little bit cheaper than these. So, hey, this is certainly not a bad optic, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of looking at it and going, hey, look, we've got the absolute perfect 10 of a red dot in the T1, T2. You go, yeah, this is a 8 or 9. It's fantastic. It's great. It's like 4 out of 5 stars, but that's 5 stars, right? And it's just a better product in my opinion. So look, my 2 cents, you can't go wrong on either of these. I would just say, hey, look, if you're picking between T1, T2 or Comp M5, T1, T2 all day. Kids, that's it. That's the shortest video I'm probably ever gonna be able to do. And it was still probably fucking 19 minutes. So I'm sorry. I do my best to be not long-winded, but you know, fucking hell, right? Peace.
In 10 seconds, answer me this. The 1911 Syndicate's getting a new partner, either Brennan Huff or Billy Madison.
Brennan. I'll take Brennan. He's going to be so much more fun. He's going to be so much more fun. Boats and hoes? Bro, boats and hoes? You kidding me? Billy Madison? Because Billy Madison's a dumb adult that went back to like kids' school. I don't want to hang out with that. Brennan created Prestige Worldwide. I want that guy as a business partner. Boats and hoes, Prestige Worldwide. Bring him into the business. I'll give him shares right now.